The land of dawn summons me. The stage has been set. Victory is certain. The stench of blood was fresh. Clearly, this battlefield has witnessed countless wars. For this war, I knew Skypiercer would serve me well in the bloodbath to come.
The true dragon walks among you.
With a defiant roar, I stepped out in the open, prepared to set my eyes on the unfortunate fool who dared to challenge me. But there was none. No one dared to face me. At that moment, I remembered who I am. I am Sky Daddy, the only Yuzhong who dared wield the power of the Skypiercer. One of a kind. Desperate to gain my favor, my subordinates fought valiantly and earned the first kill. I kept wreaking havoc, knowing fully well that my reign of terror would be challenged. Very soon, a young hero would stand before this tyrant dragon and demand my head.
1 hour later.
And so he came. He tried to shackle me down, but I was swift like the wind and fierce like a dragon. Julian's attempt at my life was bold, but he lacked the experience to pull it off. The cocky brat chased after me carelessly, unaware he was about to fall into a trap of my own. But it seems I placed too much faith on my boy, X-Borg. He failed to execute my commands properly and Julian escaped. I made my disappointment known with a glare and decided to clear the lane ahead of the turtle fight. My boys had gathered for the turtle, but I could sense the primal souls of my foes approaching at light speed. Alice and Julian besieged us, and I promptly unleashed my full power. In mere seconds, I ripped Alice apart, but the young hero took the opportunity to deal a deadly blow. I am surrounded by knights, yet all alone in my greatest hour of need. I was beginning to question the value of these subordinates. I raced to the front lines in search of a scapegoat, someone I could vent my anger on. But all I found were cannon fodders. It had become clear that these scoundrels were aware of their crimes and shamelessly planned to escape responsibility. At this point, I decided if the enemy won't approach me, I'll go after them myself. Knocking down the tower, I quickly headed mid-lane.
كلنا سلمان كلنا محمد
Jesu!
The young hero learned a lesson on humility after this encounter. He finally understood the difference between Sky Daddy and the average Yuzhong player. I decided to clear the lane while waiting for the enemy forces to make a move. My spies told me they planned to crush me in one swoop, but I laughed at their ignorance. My subordinates stepped up to protect their emperor, but I charged in regardless. Eager to confront the enemy in person, Nana was swift but failed to escape the Black Dragon. My brief absence had tilted the battle in favor of my foes, but I chuckled. Fate has no control over this tyrant. Unwilling to chase, I blocked their escape route and waited. 3 came, 3 fell. No survivors, no exceptions. That is who I am. With the opposition obliterated, I strolled down south, only to walk into the public execution of a foe. Nana quickly made her presence known, threatening to harm me if I dared attack the tower. Foolish girl. The Dragon Emperor is not someone you can hurt. The tower fell under my deadly barrage, but Julian popped out of nowhere, dealing a deadly blow and forcing me to unleash my true power. The duo struggled, but ultimately succumbed to my power. Enraged, Leslie unleashed her full power, earning my attention, but for merely a second. Once the turtle was secured, I followed a familiar stench reserved for predators alone. Fear, Benedetta was killed in the bushes like the rat she is, and Alice could only succumb upon realizing she was all alone. Beneath my feet were puddles of blood, and with it came a bloody stench I have gotten accustomed to. While the enemy tended to their wounded, we slayed the Lord and pressed the attack. Since we had the advantage, there was no reason to hesitate. However, seconds away from claiming the Lord, I felt a shift in the force. I instantly knew the enemy was approaching, so I stepped to meet them head-on. Alice took the wrong turn, drawing our attention while Nana used the opportunity to flee. Against me and my subordinates, Alice struggled, but ultimately succumbed to her wounds. Contemplating on the growing potential I have noticed in Alice, I decided it was time to suppress her completely, and summoned my Dominion ice armor. Granger fell before me, and I swooped in to avenge him. Julian fought hard, but the gap between us was too wide. He could only fall to the ground, defeated by this ancient tyrant. By this time, I could sense the end was near. My subordinates no longer needed my help to deal with my enemies. And my enemies dare not meet me on the field. They finally know fear. They finally understood their place on the food chain. However, they were yet to surrender. This made me believe there was still a stubborn rat amongst them, clinging on to lost hope. I suspected finding and killing this rat would end this war, so I had my men engage the enemy while I observed. After vicious pointers were exchanged, I had come to understand who needed to die. A wide grin spread across my lips upon realizing my next assault would be the last. This war was finally coming to an end. Patiently, I waited for my army to get in position before leading the charge with a breathtaking battle cry. Snatching Nana's life, I quickly withdrew to lure the enemy out of the safety of their camp. They saw through my intent and refused to take the bait. However, they failed to realize Sky Daddy does not bait, he commands. Leslie was singled out of the entire group, and I pounced on her like a wild beast. Their formation quickly crumbled, and Julian soon found himself fighting a 1v5 battle. The strategies of Sky Daddy are absolute. My strength is absolute. My victory was certain from the very beginning.
Victory!
GG.